Myanmar's military junta has cut off internet access across the country amid growing protests against this week's coup. Crowds of people took to the streets of the largest city, Yangon, on Saturday to denounce the military takeover. Riot police blocked the streets using barricades and water cannon. Many of the protesters wore red in support of arrested leader Aung San Suu Kyi.
Resistance appears to be growing. This demonstration in Yangon is the first such mass public protest since the military took over the country on Monday. Among the chants, military dictator fail, fail, democracy win, and demands for the release of elected leader Aung San Suu Kyi. Authorities were not far away. Army Chief Min Aung Hlaing seized power on Monday, alleging fraud in a November 8th election won by Aung San Suu Kyi's NLD party. The Electoral Commission dismissed the army's accusations. Now, the country's internet access has been severely reduced. Independent monitor NetBlocks says Myanmar is in the midst of a second nation-scale internet blackout, with connectivity at almost half of ordinary levels. Other reports say the military government ordered the shutdown of Facebook and Twitter, claiming the spread of fake news. Protests against the military coup have also spread to other countries. In Melbourne, Australia, hundreds of demonstrators expressed their concern.
We're showing our voices to let the military know that we're not going to stand back and let them do whatever they want here.
And in Taiwan, hundreds of members of the Myanmar community there also came out in force. We've had more than 30 years of repression from the military government. We don't want to go back to that. So we hope our next generation can live in a country like Taiwan, where everyone enjoys civil rights. That's why we're here today. Despite efforts to silence protesters in Myanmar, calls for an end to the coup are still loud and clear in the country.
Dave Grunebaum is a journalist who's been covering Myanmar for many years. He joins us now from Kuala Lumpur. Dave, widespread cuts to the internet access. Some are calling it a nationwide blackout. What's behind this crackdown?
Yeah, well, it makes it tougher for the organizers of these demonstrations to communicate with one another and strategize with one another. It also makes it tougher for them to get their messages and powerful visuals out to the outside world for us to see. Certainly the military would like to clamp down on that. You know, the military, they've got a playbook that they worked out before they went forward with the coup on Monday. And what they're doing is seeing what the public does. They reach into the playbook, grab the play they need at that particular time, or what they think they need.
Now, an Australian advisor to elected leader Aung San Suu Kyi has been detained, as she has also been. Why are authorities targeting her inner circle?
So it's really not clear at this time why they're detaining Sean Turnell, that Australian economic advisor that you're talking about, particularly since he's not really known by most of the people in Myanmar. But her other advisors, many of whom are well known, the military does not want anyone influential out there encouraging the masses to continue resisting.
What kind of response can we expect from the military leaders to these public protests?
Well, it really depends on how big these protests get. They're picking up steam. Do they really become something massive? And also these work stoppages that are going on across the country, do those continue to grow? And if the generals find that this economy is just really sliding down, and it's an economy that's already been battered by COVID-19, but if they lose the ability to keep the economy running at all, well, then they may find themselves backed into a corner. Senior General Min Aung Hlaing, the commander-in-chief, he has put his chips on this risky gamble for total power. For him, there's no turning back, even if it means that he has to use deadly force. But keep this in mind. This is something we do not know. Does he truly command the loyalty of all the battalions and units across the Army? Does he really have the loyalty of police officers across the country? We do not know. There is a chance at some point there could be some division in the ranks. That's something we need to keep an eye out for.
Now, what about Aung San Suu Kyi, who has been detained for several days now? Any update on her whereabouts?
Yeah, her lawyer says that she is at her home in Naypyidaw. He's not been able to talk to her, but all we know is that she's basically under house arrest. We have not heard from her really since Monday. And what came out on Monday was a statement that had been prepared in advance of the coup as they were anticipating that it might happen.
All right. Journalist Dave Grunebaum in Kuala Lumpur, thanks very much for the update.
Sure thing.